Awesome. Well, how are you?
I'm good. I'm very good. How are you?
I'm all right. I was sort of on a weird vacation until a couple days ago, so this is the first like official work thing back. So, uh,
Oh, where'd you go on vacation?
this is gonna sound funny. It actually will sound maybe a little even funnier to you considering your spouse. I went to Mets fantasy camp. I played baseball for a week, so I
That sounds.
pretended to be good at sports.
My
Um,
husband used to do a fantasy camp himself, and it was always at capacity. So
yeah.
I bet that was the time of your life.
Also, I'm just gonna say a little unfair for him to go to fantasy camp.
No, he did his own.
Okay,
So he
okay. I was about to say
was,
if he was just
yeah.
participating.
No, people came and played with him.
Yeah, I was about to say, what do you do for a living? Don't worry about it. And just no, that wouldn't have been fair. Uh, but I was excited to do this just because I think it's impossible not to watch the film and not be incredibly compelled by your character. Well, not necessarily liking her, but she's the one I think of everyone in the movie that you kind of want to be in her head as much as anyone else because you maybe get her the least, which I imagine is a amazing challenge. Just play a recognizable yet sort of vaguely unknowable character.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I, for the first time in my career, I was like, I don't want to judge the character.
Yeah.
Because basically in the past, I judge the character and then I act out that judgment on screen.
Oh,
And I was like, no, I actually have to like do my job. And part of that was figuring out a way in. And what about her journey can I relate to in some capacity? And when I realized, like when Elliot started talking about her childhood and her being a great student and her being a great athlete, like literally right up until, the point where he was born, I was like, she was following a path,
yeah.
the path that they tell all young Black girls that you need to follow. You have to be a good student. You have to be a good athlete. You have to be, all of these things to be considered good. And I'm like, now I think I understand who she is and where she at least started
Okay.
because I can recognize some of that in myself. But where we diverge, she leaned heavily into organized religion, and having a queer child for a lot of religious folks does not add up to goodness. And she opted for her own survival and still wanting to be thought of as good. And she bartered with her child.
Yeah.
And while I've never bartered with my children, I have sacrificed, I would say, my soul at times to be in closer proximity to power structures
Yeah.
or opportunities or whatever they tell you that is supposed to come after complete assimilation and fully diving into respectability politics. I at least got how she got there,
Yeah.
um, and just why she felt so thorough with her rejection and her discarding of her child.
Yeah. I imagine that's the hardest part to play because it's such a it goes against I think so many things that we just feel because when you're playing the if you have a romantic comedy like okay I've been in love I know how to do this and I've been a sassy friend we've all had these moments that we can I'm just playing it up I'm if I'm at a 5 I'm going to be at a 7 in the movie there's it's not less work but it's I get this I understand the assignment here it's I have to figure out how to get this because it just this is the type of person I want to like talk sense into and I can't do that. I have to do the opposite. I have to have her almost talk sense into me.
Yes, yes. And it's hard because this is we live it. You
Yeah.
come to our house, we are living this. So maybe I did need to figure out a different way to reach different family members
Yeah.
who have not hopped aboard the acceptance train. And maybe my present route was not as effective as I would have liked it to be. So just in trying to learn how to like what is going through your mind
Yeah.
when you kick your child out at 15. You don't care that they're homeless. You don't care. you're really sticking with this. Okay.
Yeah.
And throughout the film, trying to understand how there's the only time she wavers is when she thinks the military is going to change his identity.
Yeah.
And then as soon as she sees him, and it's a choice I made. I don't know if anyone clocked it, but it's become like a running joke with me and Jeremy. But when she sees him order the salad,
Yeah.
eating the salad, she thinks he's giving it away. That, whatever the Marines try to accomplish, he's undoing with that freaking salad. And so it's the salad that sets her off in the cafeteria. Um, yeah.
No, that seems great for a lot of reasons. I think even just it lets Bokeem come in and, the other antagonist of the movie in many ways actually just sort of butts heads with you by going, well, I don't know what your deal is. It's not really my business, but I understand, he passed this test that I gave him, so I no longer care. He's now part of my thing. And this just look that he gives you of like, I don't understand why he's not part of your thing either. Is this really interesting moment while you, like you said, while a salad's being eaten, while Jeremy's right there just going, I want these two people just to accept me. I just want to be able to like exhale, and really almost everyone in the movie just isn't able to breathe easy. Like I think that's the thing I noticed with your character a lot is even when she's doing these tough things, she doesn't look particularly happy about it. There's no like comfort in it. You get the sense that when the camera leaves, she just sits there and like just crushes that cigarette in her hand.
Well, it's like you get those moments of her alone in the car
Yeah.
as she's trying to like talk herself into getting out of the car. And she has such hope that the military has done its job and will return her straight child back into her arms.
Yeah.
Along with his check.
That too.
That too. And that part it was so, it's not even really subtle, but like no one talks about it. When she's basically like, I was fine with you being homeless, but now that you have a check from the government, maybe I'll let you come home, provided like, I'll charge you less than what a hotel would charge you. Yeah. She was still going to charge him. Like, I mean, like it was so dark, but like you see her, like fighting with herself in the car to get up the nerve to get out, because in her mind, it's really Jesus himself has said that being gay is bad.
Yeah.
But maybe the Marines did a job that she couldn't do.
Yeah.
And maybe, and so like there's moments where I'm like, are there any new pages coming? Can she just freaking corner and give him something, and
that's what makes it so different, is that it does stay unfortunately true to what happens a lot, where people don't change, or the change is so minimal that it doesn't actually lead to a new event. And it's I think there's a slight difference in who she is at the end, but she's still mostly the same person who put newspaper down before her son got to sit on her couch.
Yeah.
And
because she wanted to believe so badly. She was searching for just a hint of straightness, just a hint. And I remember shooting the last scene in the hallway. And Elegance was closer to the camera. He wasn't in Village. He was next to the camera. Mm-hmm. He might have taken the camera himself. I don't remember, but like she was shooting this 2-shot. And every take, I just wanted to do something different.
Yeah.
For Elegance.
Yeah.
Because he says based on a true story, because a lot of the Marine stuff is not exact, but the stuff with his mom, pretty on point, and just wanting a different outcome for him.
Yeah.
In that moment, even just one take, like, can I get this boy one take of a real mother's love, but that was not. It just sucked, because it's like I'm watching him have his heart broken again in real life through this scene.
Right.
And
Yeah,
Ugh.
I mean, when I spoke to him, it was, I was very keen to remind him that, like, there's a lot of laughs in the movie. Like he very much is eager to remind you that it's not all pain, but it's this weird, it's a really strong choice on his part not to change the mother aspect, because I think that might have been like the first thing a lot of other people do is like, okay, well, I'm going to keep this much accurate, but she's going to have her moment at the end, and like I'm gonna redeem my mom, and I don't think he necessarily like calls her to the carpet or anything, but he just presents what happened in his and how he felt, and you can feel how you feel about it, and I think that's maybe the boldest choice you could make, because you're letting people who don't know your mom, and I'm sure you ask him, he goes, I love my mom, sit here and go, that awful woman, and he's like, in sort of the same way she's like, well, I can't prevent what happens to you because of your choices. He's finally kind of turning it back on her.
Yeah, and that's fair.
Yeah.
And I think certainly as like a lot of parents age, and parents who made similar choices as Inez, they they're not really understanding the enormity of their choices. And when it comes time,
Yeah.
it's these same people who like who've got to be responsible for your care, and making sure you don't have bed sores, like, and they're so dogged. I've met, I know a lot of these people, even in old age, they're like, I'd rather have bed sores than accept that my child's identity. And it's wild to
Yeah.
me. I
It's
mean,
it's hard to understand someone who feels that strongly about something that you're like, there aren't really two sides to this one. Like, there's a lot of things. Listen, like I said, I was down at that camp. A lot of people don't vote the way I do. And like, you kind of let it go in one ear out the other. But every so often you hear one thing like, no, that's not the way things are. Oh,
well, I mean, there's a lot of things in the Bible, like speeding.
yeah.
Every speeds, but like, and if no one sin is greater than the other, I mean, like, why are we being sticklers about that? And then you get into like the Bible, like,
Once it becomes convenient to hear what you want to hear, you get,
very convenient.
oh,
Yeah.
this one's a big deal, but this one, we're fine.
Meh,
Yeah.
you
That's
know,
that's where it gets weird for me with a lot of that stuff too, because you're just like, so you're saying on the one hand, this is all like the word, like, if you don't believe it, there's problems. All right, I have my own issues with that, but whatever. But then on the other hand, like, I highlighted these four things. Like, this is a bigger deal than that. Like, wait, but you just said, like, it's like if I asked my dog to like go get something and yelled at him for getting it. He's like, but you told I
you
have
just,
limited words. Like,
yeah, wait, I thought we were supposed to love thy
yeah.
neighbor.
Well,
Okay, no,
only certain ones. Only certain
only
ones
certain
apparently.
ones.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
it's
real estate market developed
confusing as
different.
a child, and
Yeah.
it's confusing as, a parent of a queer child who, you know, is walking this walk.
Yeah.
And where the rejection comes, it's, so I set out to do this movie hoping to change one parent's mind,
Oh yeah.
one parent in particular, but I know that I've already heard from them that this movie is changing uh, some parents' direction and how they are dealing. And they saw themselves in Inez when they did not think that they would.
I was
And
about to say, I was curious about that. You everyone does a movie for a different reason, and everyone has different moments when they know it's going well, or when maybe you don't know, and then you see the movie or you never see the movie. I was curious, like, do you hear, like, has there been a response? Obviously, reviews are good, people praise your work, you hear about awards buzz, but that's independent of the goals you set out for. If you go out to make a movie like that, you don't tend to end up making that movie.
no, I mean, my only goal was to try to make parents see that no matter what their intention is,
Yeah.
their loving intention, even, that you are the villain in your child's story,
Yeah.
you know, um, and you don't have to be. There is another way. There's 8 billion people now in the world. There's 8 billion ways of loving one
Yep.
another. Pick one that does not lead to trauma, abuse, harm, or putting your kid out, and considering your child disposable. So if I can change one parent's mind, that is my greatest reward. and I'll take that to the bank and try to cash it right along right along with something else, you know.
There you go. That's actually a perfect way to wrap up, just because it is so much the summary of the film and the performance, and the performance is really great. So you should be very proud. And I think every time you hear from someone, it's it's doing the work that maybe the world isn't always doing. And movies are silly, but at the same time, people watch them. And if somebody reacts and it changes something, you've done a good thing. So you should be very proud.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much for doing this.